Lookalike audiences are one of the most powerful targeting tools on Meta, and in 2026, most people are using them completely wrong. They upload a random email list, create a 1% lookalike, and throw it into a campaign and wonder why their results are not working. Now, that's not how this works. A lookalike audience is only as good as the source you build it from. Feed the system garbage data and you're gonna get garbage audience. Feed it your best customers and best data, and Meta's AI will go find thousands of people who look, act, and buy just like them. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to create a lookalike audience the right way. Which source audiences to use, what percentage to pick, and how to actually deploy it inside a campaign so it works with the Andromeda algorithm, not against it. Now, if you're new to this channel, my name is Christian Jamal. I've spent well over $100 million on paid ads, and on this channel, I make videos specifically for business owners that run ads for lead generation purposes. Everything on here is about helping you actually understand Meta, run better ads, and scale without guessing. So let's dive in. Now, let me explain what a lookalike audience actually is for anyone who's new to this. You give Meta a list of people, your customers, your leads, your website visitors, and Meta analyzes that data. It analyzes everything about them, their demographics, their interests, their online behavior, their purchase pattern, and then it goes out on the platform and finds people who share the same characteristics, but you haven't had business done with them just yet. It's like telling Meta, here are my best customers, go find me more people like them. And Meta is actually incredibly good at this. The Andromeda algorithm processes signals from billions of users to find statistical matches. When it works, it's the closest thing to a cheat code in the digital advertising space overall. But the key word is when it works, because the quality of your lookalike is entirely determined by the quality of your source audience. And here's the mistake most people make. They upload their entire customer list as a source, every person who ever bought from them, signed up for their email list, or even filled out a form. And then they think bigger is better. Well, it is, but it's also not. When you upload everyone, you're telling Meta to find people who look like your average customer, not your highest value customer, your average. And average gets you, well, average results. So here's what we should do instead. If you're an e-commerce business, upload a list of your top 25% of customers by revenue, the people who spent the most, the repeat buyers, the ones with the highest lifetime value. That's your source audience. Now, Meta isn't finding you any more average buyers. It's finding you more high value buyers. If you're a service business running lead gen, upload a list of your closed deals, not all your leads, not everyone who filled out a form, just the people who actually became paying customers to your business. Because there's a massive difference between someone who fills out a form and someone who pulls out their credit card to pay you. You want Meta to find you more of the second group. If you don't have a customer list yet, that's okay. You can build a lookalike from your website visitors, your video viewers, or your Instagram engagers. But the same principle also applies. Use the highest quality source available, people who actually engage meaningfully, not just scroll past your videos. Now, let me show you how to build this inside of Meta. So there's actually two ways to go about this. The first way is actually from inside your ad account, when you're clicking on create or whatever it may be, and you're on the ad set level over here, and you scroll down to your audience. So let me just change this to my page, and you can scroll down here to use these custom audiences. You can click on create new, and you can build a lookalike or a custom audience. Now, granted, custom audience, that is the equivalent of your source audience, okay? So when we go to custom audience, we can select website, and on the website, you're going to be able to see all website visitors, people who visited specific pages, etc. You're also going to be able to do a couple different things here. So a customer list is what we were talking about earlier, where you give email, phone number, etc. about this user, and then you can pull that data. If you don't know what to send Facebook, I would just download a file template and then do it in the same formatting. It's going to be very simple. Not all the fields are important, but as long as you have first name, last name, email, and phone number, you should be set. And after that, what you could also do is you can do things off of an Instagram account or off a Facebook page. So on an Instagram account, you can say, for example, like if I look up like my page, people who engage with this professional account, you can read the descriptions here, people who visited this professional account's profile, people who engage with any post or ad, people who sent a message to this profile, etc. And you can set a timeline. So you can do, for example, older than a month, but less than a year. And that's what you could do. Or you can do at least, for example, 10 times in the last 365 days. That means someone who actually engaged with my account 10 times. These are people who actually know the brand, understand what it is that I do, etc. And the same thing applies for video. So for video, you can pick a video and you want to put these options right here. People who watch 75% of my video, people who watch 95% of my video, things like that. Now, granted, this is valid for videos that are slightly longer. If your video is 3 seconds long, well, obviously everybody's going to watch 75% of it, but that's not going to help you dictate whether they're a good person or a bad person to target with your ads, okay? So when it comes down to selecting videos, just make sure that you are actually selecting videos that are, I don't know, 2 minutes long or longer, because that is when people actually have invested time watching your content, and that tells you that they are a good lead to target, okay? Now, once you're done creating your custom audience, you then have the option to select lookalike audience. And here you can start looking up your custom audiences. So let's say we created here a custom audience from our website events, and you can do other event value, and you can do all these different types of events, okay? Now, granted, this is a testing audience, so you're not going to get here. You're not going to get the numbers over here. But if you actually had an audience with how much value they've invested with your business, you're going to see the lowest and the highest and the unique customers that you've had on that list. So, for example, if you upload 1,000 transactions, of which there is 800 unique customers, and some customers bought from you more than once, you can then see here that you're going to have 800 unique customers, okay? Now, when it comes down to the audience size, there's a couple things you can do here. You can select 6 and have a 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, etc. Typically, I've seen the best results in these 3 options, and you can test them for your business, but I've only seen these perform really well. So I've seen the 1% lookalike, which is the general one that everybody does. It's the most likely going to be the one that succeeds. The 10%, and I've also seen the 3% do really well too. So after you have this done, you would just create audience, and then boom, you have your value-based lookalike audience over here in the ads, and you can go from here and start actually using it. Now, one more thing to highlight is the fact that the second way you can create those is from inside the audiences tab. So inside the audiences tab, you're going to have here all your custom audiences, all your lookalike audiences, whatever it may be. And you can click on create and do the same exact thing that I was just showing you guys. Now, the nice part about doing it from in here is that you can actually create a map of your business. And what I recommend is creating custom audiences for every single one of the ones that I mentioned. So you want a custom audience of people who visited your website. You want a custom audiences for people who engage with your Instagram. You want a custom audience for people who engage with your Facebook. You want a custom audience of people who watch your videos. And you also want a custom audience of a customer list, because then you can use those as sources to create lookalikes across the board and split test them against each other. There's also, of course, other options. So like if you're doing an on Facebook lead form, you can do people who open this form, whatever, let me put this. You can do, for example, like this form, for example, in the past 90 days, not people who opened this form, but people who opened and submitted the form. Because that's the thing, think about it like this. You're gonna have audiences that are good to retarget. So for example, website visitors that didn't buy, or people who opened your lead form that didn't fill it out. And then you're gonna have audiences that are super high intent, and the source audience is going to be really good because you're gonna give it people who purchased from you, people who filled out a lead form and answered the phone, etc. And that is exactly what you want to do when it comes to creating these audiences. And the biggest thing you want to do after you're done doing all of this is actually testing them. So a lot of people would just create the audiences and then stack all of them in the same ad set. And I've seen this so many times, which is extremely unusual to me, because how are you going to know which one is actually working if you put them all together, right? So over here, you can put a lookalike, and then you would just duplicate that audience and create a brand new one. And then in this new one, you would then get rid of this lookalike and select, for example, lead form fills in the last 90 days or something like that, like a different audience. And that's pretty much what you want to do. You want to put them all on their separate sets so that you can know exactly which one of them is actually going to convert for you and is actively converting for you. So now here's where it gets interesting in 2026. The part that most tutorials won't tell you is that lookalike audiences work differently now than they did 2 or 3 years ago. With Advantage Plus campaigns, Meta treats your audience section as a suggestion, not a hard boundary. So even if you select a 1% lookalike, the algorithm might expand beyond it and find you better people to convert. And that is actually a good thing. Think of your lookalike as a starting point, a signal to the algorithm. You're saying, start here. These are the kinds of people that I already want, that have already paid me. And then Andromeda takes that signal and runs with it. It'll test people inside your lookalike and people outside your lookalike. and it will shift budget to whoever is actually converting the highest percentage on your ads. So the best way to use lookalikes in 2026 is not as a restriction, it's as a seed. Upload your best customer list, the highest custom audience you can create a 1% lookalike from it, and use that as your audience suggestion in an Advantage Plus campaign. Then let the algorithm do what it's being paid to do. You're giving it the best possible starting point, and then you let the AI do what it already does best. That is the right way to do it. That's how you get the most out of your lookalikes in 2026. Now, real quick, if you want to learn the entire system, how to set up the ads, the audiences, the funnels, the automations, the AI tools, I built Click to Client. It's a full course. It's completely free. It's the first link down below in the description. And if you'd like to work with me one-on-one on actually setting this up inside your business, then there's also a link for that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.